Hello there, this is Umida with you again, and for today we're going to have a lesson on about the world around us. Exactly speaking, about recycling the rubbish. So, in generally speaking, what is a recycling and why do we need or why should we recycle the rubbish? So, recycling is one of the most effective ways that we can help preserve our planet and make sure that it's a healthy and happy place to live. But what's recycling and what should we recycle? What are the main reasons why we recycle? What is recycling? Here again we can see just so many questions. Let's have an answers for these questions. Recycling is a process of turning used materials and waste into new products. A lot of our household waste can be broken down and reprocessed to make new things. This process uses less energy and resources than making items new, so it offers a big boost to our environment. The next question which I gave you about what should we recycle? So let's go. We should all recycle everything that is capable of going through this process. In the home, some common materials that should be recycled include paper, such as newspapers, magazines, and cardboard packagings. And the next thing is metals. These are such as cans, food containers, and foil. And the next one is plastics, such as bottles, carrier bags, tubes, food containers, and wrappers. So the following material is glass, such as bottles, jars, and food containers. Let's see that typical materials that are recycled include. What do they include? They may include iron and steel scrap, aluminum cans, glass bottles, paper, wood, and plastics. The materials reused in recycling serve as substitutes for raw materials obtained from such increasingly scarce natural resources as petroleum, natural gas, coal, mineral ores, and trees. Recycling can help reduce the quantities of solid waste deposited in landfills, which have become increasingly expensive. The next question, why do we recycle? There are several important reasons why we need to recycle our waste at home, but the following list summarizes some of the main reasons why we should recycle away waste in our and your homes. So, the first one is just recycling can reduce the air, water, and land pollution that is caused by discarded or burnt waste, meaning that the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the land we live on is safer and healthier. So, recycling reduces our reliance on increasingly scarce natural resources and raw materials when manufacturing new products. It takes less energy to recycle used materials than it does to produce items with raw materials, which is good for the environment but also good for us, for ourselves, because it brings down the prices of products. Recycling also creates jobs for people, as recycling companies employ many thousands of workers all over the world. The reason why we need to recycle all therefore to help more than just the environment. There are two broad types of recycling operations. The first one internal and the second one is external. Internal recycling is a reuse in a manufacturing process of materials that are a waste product of that process. Internal recycling is common in the metal industry. For example, the manufacture of copper tubing results in a certain amount of waste in the form of tube ends and trimmings. This material is remelted and recast. Another form of internal recycling is seen in the distilling industry. in which after the distillation spent grain mash is dried and processed into an edible foodstuff for cattle. The next recycling type, as I said above, external recycling, is reclaiming of materials from a product that has been worn out to render it obsolete. And an example of external recycling is the collection of old newspapers and magazines for repulping and their manufacture into new paper products. Aluminum cans and glass bottles are other examples of everyday objects that are externally recycled on a wide scale. These materials can be collected by any of three methods: by back centers, which purchase waste materials that have been sorted and brought in by consumers; drop-off centers, these are where consumers can deposit waste materials but are not paid for them. And the next one is curbside collection, in which homes and businesses sort their waste materials and deposit them by the curb for collection by a central agency. Society's choice of whether and how much to recycle depends basically on economic factors. Conditions of affluence and the presence of cheap raw materials encourage human beings' tendency to simply discard used materials. Recycling becomes economically attractive when the cost of reprocessing waste or recycled material is less than the cost of treating and disposing of the materials or of the processing new raw materials. So some materials that can be recycled. Let's have a look on these materials. The initial one is ferrous materials. These products can be recycled by both internal and external methods. These ferrous products can be iron and steel products. So some internal recycling methods are obvious. Metal cutting or imperfect products are recycled by remelting. Yes, by remelting, recasting, and redrawing entirely within the steel mill. The process is much cheaper than producing new metal from the basic ore. Most iron and steel manufacturers produce their own coke. Byproducts from the coke oven include many organic compounds, hydrogen, sulfide, and ammonia. The organic compounds are purified and solid. The ammonia is sold as an aqueous solution or combined with sulfuric acid to form aluminum sulfate, which is subsequently dried and sold as fertilizer. In the ferrous metals industry, there are also many applications of external recycling. Scrap steel makes up a significant percentage of the feed to electric arc and basic oxygen furnaces. The scrap comes from a variety of manufacturing operations that use steel as a basic material and from discarded or obsolete goods made from iron and steel. So one of the largest resources of scrap steel is reprocessing of old automobile bodies. Salvage operations on automobiles actually begin before they reach the reprocess. Parts such as transmissions and electrical components can be rebuilt and resold, and the engine block is removed and melted down for recasting. After being crushed and flattened, the automobile body is shredded into small pieces by hammer mills. Ferrous metals are separated from the shredder residue by powerful magnets, while other materials are sorted out by hand or by jets of air. Only the plastics, textiles and rubber from the residue are not reused. The same basic recovery processes apply to washing machines, refrigerators and other large, bulky steel or iron items. Lighter items such as steel can be also recycled in large numbers. Non-ferrous metals at present, manual sorting seems to be the only practical of non-ferrous scrap materials such as aluminum, copper and lead. Secondary aluminum reprocessing is a large industry involving the recycling of machine turnings, rejected casting, siding and even aluminum covered by decorative plastic. The items are thrown into a rheobatory furnace in which heat is radiated from the roof into the material treat and melted, while the resulting material is cast into ingots and resold for drawing or forming operations. Beverage cans are another major source of recycled aluminum. In some countries, as many as 2/3 of all such cans are recycled. The primary sources of used lead is discarded electric storage batteries. Battery plates may be smelted to produce antimonial lead for manufacture of new batteries or to produce pure lead and antimony as separate products. The next material is rubber. Though much used rubber was firmly burned, this practice has been greatly curtailed in most countries in order to prevent air pollution. Internal recycling is common in most rubber plants. The reprocessed product can be used wherever premium grade rubber is not needed. External recycling has proved a problem over the years, as the cost of recycling old or worn out tires has far exceeded the value of the reclaimed material. Shredded rubber can be used as an additive in asphalt pavements, and discarded tires may be used as components of swings and other assorted recreational climbing equipment in the tire playgrounds for children. And the following material is paper and other cellulose products. One of the most readily available materials for recycling is paper, which alone accounts for more than 1/3 by weight of all the material deposited in landfills in the United States. The stream of waste papers consists principally of newspaper, office copying and writing paper, computer paper, colored paper, paper tissues and towels, box boards, corrugated cardboard and craft papers and others. These papers must usually be sorted before recycling. Newsprint and cardboard can be repulped to make the same materials, while other types of scrap paper are recycled for use in low quality papers such as boxboard, tissues and towels. Paper intended for printing grade products must be inked after pulping. For some uses, the stalk is bleached before pressing into sheets. Smaller amounts of recycled paper are made into cellulose, insulation and other building products. Bark of wood, chips and other pulp mills and other paper mills are returned to the soil as fertilizers and soil conditioners. Paper mills are returned to the soil as fertilizers and soil conditioners. The craft process of paper making products a variety of liquid wastes that are sources of such valuable chemicals as turpentine, methyl alcohol, and acetone and others. Sludges from pulp and paper manufacture and phosphate slime from fertilizer manufacture can be made into wallboard. The next material which can be recycled is glass. Glasses make up about 6% by weight of the material in municipal waste streams. Glass is an easily salvageable material, but one that is difficult to recover economically. So, enormous numbers of glass containers are used throughout the world. Much of this glass is still not recycled because the raw materials are so inexpensive that there is scant economic motive to reuse them. Even those glass containers that are returned by consumers in their original form sooner or later become damaged or broken. One problem in recycling glass is separating it from other refuse. Another problem is that waste glass must be separated by color before it can be reused to make new glass containers. Despite these difficulties, anywhere from 35 to 90% of color is currently used in new glass production depending on the country. The following recyclable product is plastics. Plastics account for almost 10% by weight of the content of municipal garbage. Plastic containers and other household products are increasingly recycled, and like paper, this must be sorted at the source before processing. Various thermoplastics may be remelted and reformed into new products. Thermoplastics must be sorted by type before they can be remelted. Thermosetting plastics, by contrast, cannot be remelted. These are usually ground or shredded for use as fillers or insulating materials. So-called biodegradable plastics include starches that degrade upon exposure to sunlight. The next material which we can recycle is construction and demolition waste. Construction and demolition debris, brick, Portland, cement, concrete, asphalt concrete, and metals can be reclaimed and reused to help reduce the volume taken up by such materials in landfills. Concrete debris consists mostly of sand and gravel that can be crushed and reused for roads, subbase gravel. Clean wood from debris can be chipped and used as mulch, animal bedding, and fuel. Asphalt can be reused in cold mix paving products and roofing shingles. Recovered wallboard can be used as cat litter as landfill space becomes more expensive. More of these materials are being recycled. And the next one is domestic refuse. Domestic refuse includes garbage and rubbish. Garbage contains highly decomposable food waste, while rubbish is a dry, non-putrescible component of refuse. Once glass, plastics, paper products, and metals have been removed from domestic refuse, what remains is essentially organic waste. This waste can be biologically decomposed and turned into humus, which is a useful soil conditioner, and kitchen scraps. When decomposed with leaves and grass in a compost mound, make an especially useful soil amendment. These practices help reduce the amount of material contributed by households to landfills. Let's see the next material that can be recycled. This material is wastewater. Treated wastewater can be reclaimed and reused for a variety of purposes, including golf course and landscape irrigation. With achievement of appropriate treatment levels, it may be reused for the irrigation of certain agricultural crops after very high levels of advanced treatment and purification. It may even be used to supplement drinking water supplies. However, because of public resistance to the direct reuse of treated sewage for domestic purposes, recovered water must be recycled indirectly. This is done by injecting it into the ground or storing it in ponds and allowing it to seep into naturally occurring aquifers so that it is further purified as it slowly moves through the geological strata. In some regions of the world where water supplies are inadequate because of recurring drought and rapidly expanding population, the recycling and reuse of treated wastewater is a virtual necessity. The human body is an incredible complex structure with cells, tissues, and organs assembled into highly organized systems that work together to perform an astonishing array of functions, from seeing and hearing to breathing and digesting food to running, playing a musical instrument, and problem solving. Each of these major systems of the body is essential to the survival of the human organisms. And each serve as a critical companion to the others. The muscles and skeletal systems, for example, act together to move the body. The skeletal system also protectively houses internal organs such as the brain, heart, and lungs, while the muscle system aids in breathing and interacts with the nervous systems to coordinate sensory and muscle responses. The respiratory, circulatory, the renal and digestive systems likewise are interconnected, working together to supply oxygen and blood to tissue, remove wastes, and break down and utilize nutrients. Learn more about these amazing systems through our Human Body Interactive. By saying all information that I have told you above, I want to say that let's save our world, not for the environment, but also for ourselves. For saving and for purifying or for making our life and environment better, I may give you some tips for home waste recycling. Follow these recommendations for easy and successful recycling at home. Let's see these tips that I want you to share with you. The first one: always use a recycling bin to make your recyclable waste easier to organize. The next one: look for the universal recycling symbol on packaging if you are unsure if an item is recyclable. One of the reasons why we recycle is to reduce the use of resources and energy when making new packaging, so this could really help. The next one: always wash containers before recycling, especially if there are remnants of food on them. Remove labels and bottle tops. The following tip which I want to give you is that give unwanted clothes to charity, friends and family, or take them to a clothes recycling services if they are no longer wearable. So the next one is recycle your food waste by making compost out of it. Simply collect organic food waste such as fruit, vegetables, coffee grounds, and eggshells in a plastic bin with a lid and leave until it is decomposed. This works particularly well in warm climate, but you will need to add a little water to keep it moist. Just the following tip is that start using biodegradable soap so that you can water your plants with leftover bath or sink water. And the last but not the least tip is that recycle electrical and gadgets where possible. Some companies offer collection services and may even pay you for your old gadgets. just make sure you reset them first and remove any personal data. All these challenges that I gave you above were for only today, and I think this data can be useful for you, and I hope you will always try to make our life better. So with best wishes, goodbye.